Look, I know I just did a video about a demo for a crowdfunding project a couple weeks ago, but I'm making an exception for this. Glyde the Dragon is an example of a rather specific genre of games that's emerged in the last decade or so. And that genre is, fine, I'll make it myself. The genre for people who want to make a game for a popular IP or series, but the rights holders do nothing with it or continually screw it up. So someone else makes their own legally distinct enough take on it. And in this case, that IP is Spyro the Dragon. Full disclosure, I have not played Spyro in any form outside of a short demo of one of the PS1 games. I just know Carlos Arazraki is the voice of Spyro, and my fiancé hates the skateboarding part of one of the Spyro games with an all-consuming passion. Even fuller disclosure, take all of my opinions with a grain of salt because, well...
Whoa, whoa. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
Ah, so you're the one everyone is talking about. May Garanus guard you with his stone wings. Ironically, one constant issue I had with the demo was audio. It's not that the music or the voices or the sound effects are bad, it's that the audio balance is all over the place. And that's... God damn, that was really loud. Sometimes the voices are way louder than everything else, sometimes the music or environment ambiance buries the voices in dialogue-heavy scenes, and sometimes both will happen in the same line of dialogue.
We are guarding it, and making sure dragons are aware, in any case they need a safe place to stay.
Oh, I presume you want some kind of reward for rescuing me. Here you are! Ha ha!
I do try to lighten the mood around the camp like you used to that.
It's good to meet you, Zare.
Right back at you, friend.
The dialogue also has a tendency to go on for a while. Some conversations had 3 or 4 moments where it seemed like Glyde and another dragon would part ways, only for them to keep talking for another 20 to 30 seconds. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Approximately 9 gigabytes ahead of myself for this demo. The quick and dirty version of the plot is that this stuff called the corruption is raining down and causing undead creatures to appear and overwhelm various lands. Glyde needs to fend off said creatures and, by harnessing the power of various elements he discovers along the way, find out how to get rid of the corruption and restore everything to how it was. The demo starts awkwardly though, as it shows Glyde getting hit with a spitball of corruption and crashing, and the very next scene is him perfectly fine running out of a tunnel after pissing off some off-screen entity, who we find out later is called the Collector. I'm not against a demo that starts partway into the game, but having the intro cutscene as the lead-in and then jumping forward in time with no notice is some pretty heavy narrative whiplash. As the Twitch chat told me while I played this, Glyde the Dragon tends to lean toward the Legend of Spyro games in terms of design. There's still a fair amount of platforming, as well as a bit of collecting to open gates to certain areas. However, there's a big emphasis on combat. Glyde has some melee attacks and fire breath, as well as a few special moves which can be tied in to pile up damage and air juggle mobs. Moves which consume stamina, which refills faster by landing attacks. It also adds to the stylish points, which... I still don't know what those do, if anything. What matters more here is how everything controls. In case it's not evident from the footage, it controls pretty well actually. Movement is intuitive, the physics make sense, I rarely missed any jumps, and the times I did end up swinging at air were largely due to me mindlessly mashing attack buttons, with the exception of 1 or 2 attacks that require more precise aim and whiffed pretty often. There is a lock-on function, but I didn't use it. Not because it's bad or anything, I just don't like using lock-on in games like this. That and sometimes the game would hang and eat my inputs. I played the game on medium graphical settings, and while my PC isn't built specifically for games, it does comfortably meet Glyde's minimum requirements. As for the look, it's a little tough to gauge right now because the demo still uses placeholder assets. The Kickstarter page outright says the enemies are all placeholders for enemies that look different but behave in similar ways. The day-night cycle is a nice touch, although on my monitor, it sometimes got so dark I had trouble seeing parts of the world. That could just be me though. Progression is tied to collecting crystals to open gates as well as acquiring elements for each area. The latter involves tracking down and activating a few large crystals, which opens a portal to a room where you basically mess around with a couple waves of enemies and get used to the new elemental abilities. Beyond that point, either a previously blocked off area opens, or you get some new ability which can be used to open up a new area. Although that still didn't stop me from finishing the demo with most of the corruption still around and while missing a couple of elements. In the early going, this is a pretty simple setup to follow, but once emerging from the obsidian cave, the level design opens up significantly. This is good in that it's less claustrophobic, but it also means wandering toward other areas before finding the crystals to unlock the elemental abilities, and getting lost or stuck much easier. Now all of this is to lead to something really important that I haven't mentioned yet. How has the crowdfunding for Glyde gone so far? The demo and Kickstarter campaign both launched on June 10th, with the goal being £50,000 sterling, or about $63,500 US. After only a few hours, the campaign raised more than $10,000. And as of my writing this about 24 hours later, it's raised over $32,000, more than half of its goal, and it still has the equivalent of February left to go. I'm leaving this gap in the video to show a screenshot of the campaign's progress right before I render the video and upload it. There's no if this game gets funded, just when this game gets funded. Given the campaign's progress so far, I should mention that there are stretch goals listed, and all of them involve expanding the various areas of the game. Things like console ports and a co-op mode are mentioned in passing and not given concrete numbers. I just hope that the game's scope doesn't outpace its quality. The developers have been taking and responding to critiques and bug reports while the campaign is happening, and given that the campaign has had 0 updates in the first couple days, yes, they're more active on the Twitter account dedicated to the game, it seems like they're more focused on nailing down the game's design than pimping it to the masses. But still, let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet.
Wing, I swear to God, you open your invisible mouth one more time and I'm gonna